everyone. Welcome back to the deep dive. You know, we like to cut to the chase here and get right to the good stuff. So today we're diving into, well, it's a kind of a collection of thoughts and ideas, really, but it's all geared towards helping us be more independent and confident.
Yeah, exactly. And it's from, let's just call it the unfolding thoughts for now.
Perfect. The unfolding thoughts. So what we're going to do is try to figure out like the key shifts in mindset that this source is pointing to, the kind of shifts that can really make a difference in how we feel and how we handle, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, like a real practical upgrade for, how we operate in the world.
Totally. So first up, and this might seem a little backwards, but the unfolding thoughts is all about embracing being alone, like really getting comfortable with solitude. What's the deal with that?
Well, the idea is that when you're not constantly surrounded by people and noise and input, when you kind of quiet things down externally, you can really start to hear your own thoughts and feelings more clearly.
So it's about getting to know yourself better.
Exactly. And it's in those moments of solitude that you can start developing your own independent way of thinking. You're not just reacting to what everyone else is doing or saying.
Okay, that makes sense. So you're not so swayed by outside influences.
Right.
And along those same lines, there's this big emphasis on personal responsibility. Like the unfolding thoughts really pushes the idea that if you're not taking charge of your life, then who is?
Absolutely. It's about realizing that you have the power to shape your own reality.
Yeah.
You're not just a passenger along for the ride.
It's about becoming the driver.
Yes, exactly. When you stop blaming others or outside circumstances for what's happening, you reclaim your agency, your ability to make choices, and to create the life you want.
So it's empowering, really.
It is. It's definitely empowering.
All right. Now, let's talk about something that might feel a bit vulnerable. The unfolding thought suggests we stop hiding our weaknesses. Actually, it goes even further and says that revealing our flaws can actually boost our confidence.
It seems counterintuitive, right?
Yeah.
But think about it this way. When you're not constantly trying to put on a perfect front, you free up so much energy.
Oh, I see. You're not so worried about keeping up appearances.
Exactly. And when you embrace your imperfections, you open yourself up to more genuine connections with others. Because let's face it, everyone has flaws. So it's about being authentic, even with the messy bits. And that can be incredibly liberating.
That makes a lot of sense. And this idea of authenticity seems to carry over into our relationships, too. The unfolding thoughts is pretty clear about the dangers of hiding our true feelings from those we care about.
Yeah, it's like anything you try to keep bottled up, eventually it's going to, explode or leak out somehow.
Yeah.
And in a relationship, that lack of honesty erodes trust. It can create all sorts of misunderstandings and ultimately lead to distance between people.
Right. You're not really letting the other person see the real you.
Exactly. But when you're open and honest about your feelings, while still being mindful of the other person, of course, you create a much stronger foundation for a healthy and fulfilling relationship.
Okay, so honesty and vulnerability are key. Now, the unfolding thoughts also talks a lot about navigating social pressures, particularly the pressure to conform to what's considered normal or acceptable. Why is that so important for independence?
Well, the danger is that when you're too focused on what others think or expect of you, you might end up living a life that isn't truly authentic to who you are. You're essentially letting external forces dictate your choices.
So you're not really in the driver's seat anymore.
Exactly. It's not about completely disregarding social norms. It's more about finding that balance where you're aware of them, but you don't let them control you. You make choices that are aligned with your own values and what feels right for you.
And speaking of making choices, the unfolding thoughts encourages us to trust our gut, to stop consulting others before making decisions. That can be really hard, though, can't it?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for those big life decisions. It's natural to want to get input from people we trust. But the thing is, ultimately, those decisions, the ones that really matter, are deeply personal. And relying too heavily on others' opinions can sometimes lead to regret down the line if their advice doesn't actually align with what you truly want or need.
So it's about tuning into your own inner compass.
Yes, that's a great way to put it.
Now, the unfolding thoughts also has some interesting things to say about happiness. It actually challenges the idea that happiness comes from other people. It says, stop hoping others will make us happy.
Right, and this is a big one. It's about understanding that true, lasting happiness comes from within. While it's true that our relationships can bring us joy, relying on others to fill some kind of void inside ourselves is a recipe for disappointment. It's only by cultivating our own sorts of happiness, finding things that bring us joy and fulfillment independently, that we can create a solid foundation for a happy life.
So it's about taking responsibility for our own happiness.
Ex-
Now, on the flip side of happiness, the unfolding thoughts also talks about stopping running away from pain. That sounds like a tough one, but also kind of important for growth, right?
It is. It's human nature to want to avoid pain. But the thing is, when we constantly run away from difficult emotions or experiences, we prevent ourselves from really processing them and learning from them. It's by facing those challenges head on, by allowing ourselves to feel the pain and then working through it, that we build resilience and come out stronger on the other side.
So it's about embracing the whole spectrum of human experience, the good and the bad.
Exactly. It's all part of the journey.
And speaking of journeys, the unfolding thoughts has some interesting things to say about friendships too. It seems to shift the focus from quantity to quality. It says, stop thinking about how many friends you have.
It's about recognizing that a handful of truly genuine supportive relationships are far more valuable than a large circle of superficial acquaintances. It's those deep connections where you can be yourself fully and openly without judgment that really enrich our lives.
So it's not about popularity, it's about authentic connection.
Precisely.
And finally, the unfolding thoughts addresses our aspirations, urging us to stop abandoning dreams or goals and to be less afraid of change.
Yes. Fear is often the biggest obstacle to pursuing our dreams. We let those doubts and anxieties hold us back from taking risks and going after what we truly want.
So it's about overcoming that fear.
Yes, and it's also about embracing change. Because often, it's in those moments when we step outside of our comfort zone, when we try new things and push our own boundaries, that we discover the most about ourselves and what we're truly capable of.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the unfolding thoughts, it seems like the key takeaways are all about taking ownership of our lives, both internally and externally. It's about looking inward to understand ourselves better, embracing our flaws, trusting our gut, and being willing to step outside of our comfort zone.
Absolutely. And it's about recognizing that we have the power to shape our own reality. We don't have to be passive bystanders in our own lives. We can be the authors of our own stories.
And here's a question for all of you listening. Think about a time when you sought approval or validation from someone else. Now, based on what we've discussed today, what's one small step you could take to rely more on your own inner compass in a similar situation in the future? Thanks for diving deep with us.